A very warm welcome from the Einböck showroom in Austria. We are here today to talk about economical grassland care. My name is Einböck Leo and I'm responsible for sales, finance and marketing. Together with my brother and father, I'm running the company in the third and fourth generation.
Yeah, my name is Johannes Eder. I'm working in the company Einböck since 6 years already, working as a sales representative for Eastern European and Mid-European countries. Today, during the training, you always can ask questions directly in the chat, as we have already recorded this training before. If you have longer questions, you can also ask them after the training and we will answer them to you.
Yeah, we hope you enjoy the training. Please ask a lot of questions and we hope you learn a lot about economical grassland care. And let's start now with the training.
Have fun.
Yes, and after this short introduction in our showroom, we are starting with our presentation about economical grassland care, how to increase feed quality and secure yield. And Johannes, what are our topics today?
So the topics for today will be, of course, yield targets and especially yield targets in mid-European countries. What are the problems in grassland, management errors, and how you can optimize your grassland with the perfect components. From the technical side, we will discuss a little bit about our most professional grassland weeder, the PNEUMATICSTAR-PRO, which will be also then shown in the showroom, as well as the P-BOX-STI with our demo box.
Yes, before we talk about grassland care, we are talking a little bit about our company. So Einböck was founded in 1934, which means we are this year 90 years old, and it's managed in the third and fourth generation by the Einböck family. We have one single production site in Upper Austria near the German border and 100% in-house competence. That means from construction to cutting, welding, painting, assembly, and to the delivery, we are doing everything on our own. That's approx 90% vertical integration. We have a team of 225 employees and about 15 to 20 apprentices, and 90% of our machines we export. What is very important to us is environmentally friendly production. So it's not only important to produce environmentally friendly machines, also the production should be like this. And the total production area is about 75,000 square meters. So after this short introduction about the Einböck company, we are starting right away with today's topic.
So we're gonna ask ourselves today four quite important questions when it comes to grassland care. So the most important, I guess, is how satisfied are you with your yield and your grassland in general? What is the energy content and what is the protein content in your grass silage? What is about the substance on the grassland? Is it heavily matted or do you have a lot of weed pressure on your grassland, which is reducing the quality? And then, of course, how can I improve the quality of my forage and also the yield within the recent years? A perfect economical grassland care starts with the ideal plant population. The plant population should be around 60% grasses, then 20 to 30% legumes like alfalfa and clover, and then around 10 to 20% herbs. The ideal composition is especially important for protein and minerals, but also the energy density. High forage quality, of course, then decreases the costs of forage. In mid-Europe, we would say 10 tons of dry substance each hectare is a good yield each year. The energy density should be around 6.0 to 6.5 megajoule Nel each kilogram, which is a quite mid-European standard. And please, if your energy density standards are in your individual country a little bit different, then convert it to your standards. Usually 14 to 18%, so that's 140 to 180 grams each kilogram protein should be in a high quality grassland. What can be the problems in grassland or especially in the spring? In several regions, molehills can be a big issue. Dead and matted grass, which can block the vegetation, and newly reseeded grass can also be quite a big issue. Mechanical issues like a damaged turf, which often happens due to wet weather conditions during the cut, can also be quite the problem. Or damage can happen through other wild animals, depending on the region, like wild pigs is sometimes an issue. What can be a stress factor for grassland? Often during the spring, slurry is brought out. The slurry sometimes is applied in too concentrated form or in too wet conditions during the spring or in late autumn. Also, unbalanced fertilizing can be quite an issue, resulting in reduced resistance. So, for example, before the winter, with a lack of fertilizing, the grassland can really be harmed during the winter. Grassland can also go into winter too short or too long. The winter then also harms the grassland in addition. And then about the management method, many cuts can weaken good forage grasses and reseeding needs to be done. Also grazing, when you have cows on the grassland, can be an issue when the weather conditions are too wet. What else can be management mistakes? The cutting height should be never under 7 centimeters. The 7 centimeter or below would make the next grow up happen very slow. Too heavy machines can cause soil compaction and turf damages, which will need years to be repaired again. The cutting time can also be set too late, so the grass isn't ready for the winter then. Here we can see two examples. The tracks can limit the growth quite much, and as we see, the tracks are still visible then in the next year. The later damage of the compaction can be seen on the left picture. Towing with an old meadow is not enough for high quality and high yield grassland. The meadow is only towing the grassland. No old and dead grass and no matted grass is pulled out of the fresh grassland. There are no gaps left for a reseeding. You do not pull out the old grass and weeds, and therefore there is no new space for some seeds to grow. Towing only activates the vegetation to grow, but is not reseeding or weeding out the old grasses. So therefore towing is not really a weed control. Here is a little example on what impact weeds and old matted grassland can have on the grassland yield. We have the example again with 10,000 kilogram dry substance each hectare per year, and then we calculate in average 6.0 megajoule Nel per kilogram, and the protein content we calculate around 160 gram, so 16%. Now our situation, which is quite usual in our area, 15% of gaps or other damages, which means that I'm losing out each hectare per year 9,000 megajoule Nel per hectare and 240 kilogram protein per hectare. Now what is the loss if I have 15% of gaps? I need the protein and the energy to be covered up by something else. So I calculate 600 kilogram soybeans, which I would need to refill the lack of protein each hectare grassland we are losing out on 15% gaps, and calculated with a price of approx 530 euros per ton, which is quite usual at the moment for soybeans. That means per hectare for protein loss, I'm losing out 318 euros. The same for the energy. Here we use as a refilling product the wheat, which is currently on 200 euros. So I'm also missing out 130 euros per hectare, which means I'm losing 448 euros per hectare grassland. And that means if I calculate with half a dock or 7.5% damage on my grassland, I'm losing out 224 euros per hectare still. But average grassland has approx 30% of gaps if it's not weeded or if it's not reseeded, and therefore I've got low quality grasses, then I'm losing out already on 900 euros per hectare each year. If we do a grassland care with an Einböck PNEUMATICSTAR or PNEUMATICSTAR-PRO, I've got the working speed, high working speed, 8 to maybe even 12 kilometers per hour. If I'm doing a good job, able to do 6 hectares per hour, or maybe let's calculate with the filling and turning 4 to 5 hectares per hour. If we calculate the tractor and the driver and the PNEUMATICSTAR, we are approx on 40 euros each hectare, and the seeding, I would say if we reseed in spring, 8 to 10 kilogram are enough, will make up around 60 hectares or 60 euros per hectare, which then will make up a cost of 100 euros per hectare each year if I take care of my grassland. So in comparison to the 900 euros I'm losing out with all my gaps, that's quite a reasonable price. So what is important for perfect grassland care? The molehills from spring should be leveled out as good as possible. Tangles and weeds, but also dead and old grass needs to be worked out, and in very hard cases will be driven away from the grassland with a loading wagon. The gaps need to be closed then with high quality grasses and herbs. Otherwise the weeds will get back to these gaps and grow again. So when to reseed? When is the right time to do the reseeding? There is not only one answer for that. We can reseed with the first pass in the spring with just adding approx 10 to 15 kg of seeds depending on the gaps. The spring helps the seeds to grow due to the high humidity. After the first cut, there is also a possibility to reseed, but it's only recommended in areas with higher humidity. For a total renewing, with weeding 2 or 3 times and driving away the old material, we choose the late summer or maybe the autumn. After the cut, the grass is not so strong anymore, and the reseeded grass in the gap can grow with lower competition than what it would be in spring. After reseeding, the first cut should be done when the grass is approx 20 centimeters high. The smaller reseeded grass needs light again, and cutting height should not be lower than 7 centimeters. Take then care about the rake and the pickup. They should not be too high, so the seeds are not pulled out of the soil again. Through the early cutting, the new grasses and herbs have more light and do not have so much competition from the old sward. So what could be different grass mixtures we can use for a proper reseeding? One of the most popular grasses is the English or German ryegrass, which has a quite high forage quality. It is resistant when cows are grassing and there is a wet weather, and also tolerates frequent cutting, so we would say 4 to 5 or maybe 6 times a year. It grows quickly and is very good for closing gaps, so it's perfect for reseeding. Then we've got, in addition, the Timothy grass, which is also quite resistant and is also really resistant during the winter. Still, it is a high forage quality grass. Then legumes and important sources of protein are the clover, I would say, a good gap filler, and it binds nitrogen. Also, we use red clover or lucerne alfalfa, which is quite durable during dry periods. And then, of course, in the mixture, we would need some herbs, which are giving the food some taste, I would call it, and increase the mineral content. So how could we summarize this all? Of course, we need to determine the causes. What are the reasons for my lack of forage yield and quality? Weeds, gaps and meadow grass, lack of high quality grasses and herbs in the mixture, damage due to heavy tractors or mechanical damage by animals. That all needs to be sorted out and counteracted with the right strategy of reseeding and weeding. And then, of course, the harvest will be increased and successfully again.
Yeah, thank you, Johannes, for showing us the economical grassland care in praxis. And now we want to show you the right tools and machines to do grassland care professionally. And that's why we are introducing you our PNEUMATICSTAR-PRO grassland seeder. First, before we do reseeding, molehills need to be leveled, and this we are doing with the triangular front leveling plates, which are tipped forward so the soil is distributed even and smooth on the ground and there is no compaction of soil into the ground, what you see on the third picture. The protection plate is protected from overload by a tension spring. You see this on the second picture. And after the molehills are distributed and the soil is leveled, the tines are coming, and we have two different options of tines, 8 or 10 millimeter tines, depending on what work we want to do. But we have always 40 tines per working meter. This means we have a line spacing of 2.5 centimeter or 1 inch. The tines are working out moss, weeds, and common panicles. That the tines are always looking into the same direction. They are guided by a plastic holder. This guarantees a full vibration of the tines and a good soil adoption of tines. And this also brings us a long life due to the reliable plastic holders. Yeah, to have a perfect soil adoption, we have 6 feeler wheels on the frame, and the main frame can tilt up and downwards 10 centimeters, so 4 inches. So you see this on all these pictures. It's very important, especially on grassland care, that the frame is not rigid, that the frame can adapt to the soil, and the frame is following the ground. Yeah, and after the tines, there are no rollers on our grassland seeders. Why there are no rollers? We have different reasons, or there are different reasons why it's not good to have the combination of rollers and a weeder in front. So the first reason is the driving speed. When weeding is the best is between 8 and 10 kilometers per hour. When driving 8 to 10 kilometers, we have the best work of the spring and the best aggressivity. And with a roller, I need to drive 4 to 5 kilometers per hour to have the ideal work of the roller. So that the driving speed is simply different. And rollers are not necessary when doing annual reseeding of grassland care. They are only necessary when doing a completely new seeding of grassland to press down the new grassland. So it's counterproductive when I do annual grassland care, when I remove weeds and then immediately press them down again to the soil. So yes, when doing grassland seeding, new grassland seeding, I need a roller, but in a splitted work. So I need to first seed and weed, and then in the second work I use the roller to press it down. Yeah, what makes our PNEUMATICSTAR-PRO so special? It's the hydraulic level compensation of all the 1.5 meter sections. So you see it on the picture that we have on every section an hydraulic cylinder, which is pressing down the full section. So by pressing down the section from the tractor hydraulic, so from the tractor cab, that the machine can set very aggressive to the soil. This means that a lot of weeds and old moss and old grass is worked out, so the machine can work very aggressive, what I simply need when doing grassland care. So the hydraulic is distributed to all the sections. So when I have a 6-meter machine or 20 feet machine, I have 4 sections, and when I have a 30 feet machine, 9-meter PNEUMATICSTAR-PRO, I have 6 sections. So the down pressure from the tractor cab is always distributed on all the sections, so I have on every section the same down pressure. In this video you see the PNEUMATICSTAR-PRO working in spring. So first molehills are leveled. You see very well that they are throwing the molehill soil into the air and distribute them evenly and smooth on the ground. Then you see here reseeding is done. With the first 3 tine rows, we work out the weed and the old grassland and moss, and with the last 3 tine rows, we distribute the seed. Again, working off the triangular front leveling board with its spring. Here you see the hydraulic cylinder of every section, and this is how a perfect field looks like after mechanical weeding and reseeding. Shaking of the tines, very important that the tines are working aggressive and are shaking from left to right. Yeah, a lot of dead material and weeds are weeded out, and reseeding is done at the same time. Yeah, I already mentioned it. Grassland renewing is not the same as grassland care, annual grassland care. So the annual grassland care is done in spring, depending on the area, March or April, or can also be done in late summer, so August or September. And grassland renewing is normally done in late summer, also depending on the area. So the first thing, several passes are needed with the thick tine grassland seeder to weed out or comb out unwanted weeds, moss and old grass. And here a close line spacing is very important. So with the 2.5 centimeter and 10 millimeter tines on the grassland seeder PNEUMATICSTAR-PRO, it's the perfect machine to do grassland renewing. Then the second pass is again weeding in the opposite direction. You see this on the second graphic, to weed and comb out again the old and unwanted weeds, moss and grass. Then a lot of organic material is on the grassland, so we need to swat away the material and drive it away from the grassland field. And the fourth part is the reseeding part. So when I do annual reseeding, I reseed approx 15 kilograms per hectare, and when I do grassland renewing, I seed from 20 to 35 kilograms per hectare, depending on the quality of the grassland. And then if it's necessary, when there are a lot of open spots and a lot of open soil spots, then rolling can help to germinate the grassland seed. Yeah, to sum up our PNEUMATICSTAR-PRO professional grassland seeder. So it's the ideal and economical machine for professional grassland care in spring and for renovating or renewing grassland in late summer and autumn. First, the grassland is leveled, so the molehills are evenly distributed with a triangular front leveling plate. Then the tines weed out the surface rooted weeds and also moss and old or dead grass. And these gaps are then closed thanks to a proper reseeding. So the grassland is aerated and stimulated to grow, especially in spring. So the machine brings a high area output on low costs. So it's the perfect grassland seeder for contractors and machinery cooperatives. Yeah, after introducing you our Grassland Seeder PNEUMATICSTAR-PRO in our presentation, I will now show you the machine in our showroom, and there you can see a little bit more details and the machine setup. Yeah, we are now back in our showroom where we are standing in front of our professional Grassland Seeder PNEUMATICSTAR-PRO. I will explain you now the machine more in detail. So we see here again the main frame that can adapt and follow perfect the soil condition or the ground. So the wings can go down and upwards up to 10 centimeter in each direction. And as I already mentioned, the triangular front leveling plates are directly mounted on the main frame, and the spring prevents them when a big rock is coming. So the soil distribution is smoothly and even on the surface. So the soil is distributed with this triangle plate perfectly into the weeding section. Yeah, behind the front triangular plate, we have on the main frame, in this case on a 6 meter 20 feet machine, we have 6 wheels that help the machine following the ground perfectly. On a 9 meter or 30 feet machine, we have also 6 wheels and again 2 on the outer wings, so in total 8 wheels. Yeah, the heart of our PNEUMATICSTAR-PRO professional weeder is the hydraulic adjustment of the aggressivity. So with this parallelogram guided section, we see that this 1.5 meter weeding section with all the tines on it can produce enough pressure on the soil and bring enough pressure into the ground to weed out all the grass and dead material and weed what we want to bring out and come out of the grassland. As we see that all, in this case, 4 sections are linked together, so I once adjust the hydraulic pressure in the tractor cab, and the pressure is adjusted and divided between these 4 sections on a 6 meter machine or 6 sections on a 9 meter machine. Yeah, on all these parallelogram guided sections, we have the tines mounted. We have 60 tines on 1.5 meter section, what brings us to a tine distance of 2.5 centimeters, so 1 inch tine distance. This is very, very important when you want to weed out a lot of material and a lot of organic dead material. So here a very narrow tine spacing is important. We can mount 8 or 10 millimeter tines. In this case, we have 10 millimeter tines mounted. The bigger the tines are, the more aggressive they can work. So especially when it comes to renewing grassland, the 10 millimeter tines are the best solution and the best option. Yeah, we have 6 tine bars. The first 3 tine bars, they weed out and work, open the surface and weed out weeds. And then new seed is distributed here via these distribution plates. And the last 3 tine rows, they weed again the seed into the ground and lay it on the open spots. Yeah, this is the setup of the 6-meter machine, and we are going now to the 9-meter machine, where I will show you the setup of the 9-meter machine. Yeah, here we are now in front of the 9-meter machine. We have now a double folding frame, so you see that there are 2 more wings which are folding inwards. This brings us to 9 meter and 30 feet. The basis is the same, or the principle is the same. Again, big triangular front leveling plate, strong frame, especially made for big farms, contractors with a lot of hectares. Again, the wheels, in this case 8 wheels, 1 on each wing and 2 in the middle. So 2 double wheels in the middle, and same system on the back, parallelogram guided sections that I can bring enough pressure into the soil and on the grassland. And in this case, again, 10 millimeter tines and distribution plates to seed or reseed grassland. Yeah, reseeding and seeding grassland I'm doing with this box. It's called P-BOX, so P-BOX-STI in this case, with electronic inside. So I adjust everything in the tractor cab with the STI monitor, and this my colleague Johannes will show you now in the presentation and also in the showroom.
So now we are back in our presentation office, and we're gonna take a closer look on our P-BOX-STI, which is most common mounted on the PNEUMATICSTAR-PRO. Our P-BOX-STI is an electric-driven seeding unit with a very precise dosing system. So what can you seed with it? Of course, we can have a grass reseeding, then we can do catch crops or cover crops, interrow crops, for example in maize, but we also have already mounted boxes on our job stars to do some fertilizer, cereals, legumes, or some other mixtures. At the P-BOX-STI, we are operating with our terminal Speedtronic. It includes an automatic computer-controlled consistent seeding rating, then of course graphics and a colorful menu navigation, which is quite easy to handle. We also have 15 different languages which can be chosen in the settings, a large 5-inch color display, many individual settings, for example like sensor settings or speed calibration, and of course the terminal itself is resistant against dust and water. Even if it falls on the floor, it must not be broken, and it is really compact and robust. It is easy to grab, and the keys and the buttons are haptically raised, so you can even drive in a blind mode. Pre-dosing is also via headland management available. The automatic calibration function with the calibration button directly on the machine helps when you do the calibration for seed. When you come to the headland, the terminal will switch off the seeding function automatically by either the upper link sensor or the 7-pole cable from the tractor cabin. And also it includes a hectare and operating hours counter. The Speedtronic system was developed by Einböck, and due to the various seeding rollers, a very wide range of seeds can be used. The different seeding rollers are changed very easily, which can be seen on the right-hand side picture. The distribution plates also allow a very precise seeding. And now, here on the video, we can see that the PNEUMATICSTAR-PRO works out a lot of old and dry grassland, whilst the P-BOX is reseeding some grass and the distribution plates are perfectly spreading it. Now we will head out to our showroom, and I will show you the P-BOX-STI in detail on our demo machine. We are now back in our showroom, standing next to the P-BOX-STI demo machine. Here we can see the Speedtronic terminal. On the main menu we have the driving speed, and here the speed of the seeding roller is shown. On the right hand side we can adjust the speed of the seeding roller while we are driving. Also here we can activate the fan and the seeding roller. On the left hand side we've got the area counter and the hour counter, and here we can start the seeding calibration. Also we've got the main settings inside here, such as emptying the tank or calibrating the speed. Also we can set some other sensors inside here. Right here we can see our 8 standard seeding rollers, starting from the biggest to the smallest, and also we've got some special seeding rollers when we only have 6 outlets. On this demo machine we've got the electric blower, which is up to 40 kg per hectare output or 6 meter working width. In addition, for bigger working widths, we use either a hydraulic fan, which we can see here on the PNEUMATICSTAR-PRO, or a PTO blower. Both are working up to 12 meter working width or 200 kilo output. The P-BOX can not just be mounted on our grassland weeders, but also on all other of our tillage machines or machines for mechanical weed control. The P-BOX is getting the speed signal by a 7-pole cable from the tractor cabin, or with a speed sensor and an upper link sensor. Also, a radar sensor or a GPS sensor can be used. The P-BOX can be equipped with multiple additional sensors, such as a calibration button directly mounted on the machine, but also an alarm when the tank is empty, or an airstream monitoring sensor. The tanks are available in a 500 or 300 liter metal tank version, or we can also mount on our machines the 265 liter tank, which we can see here on our demo machine.
Yeah, thank you, Johannes, for showing and explaining us the P-BOX-STI in our showroom. We have now reached the end of our today's online training, and we want to pass on our knowledge and experience free of charge to you with our handbooks. So you see we have 3 handbooks: the Organic Farming Handbook, the Fusion Farming Handbook, and for you the most important or very interesting handbook is the Handbook for Grassland Care. So it's a guide to grassland care. All we mentioned today is all in our Grassland Care, and you can download it for free on our website. So it's approx 50 pages of how to do grassland care in spring, autumn, reseeding, renewing, and also some other topics. So we have reached the end of our presentation and online training. We hope we were able to give you a good overview of the theory and praxis of grassland care and the right tools, and give you a better understanding of the basics of our machines and tools and of the praxis. Unfortunately, it was, of course, not possible to give you a deeper insight on the subject in this short time. As mentioned, our free handbooks and our various news articles on our website will give you a more detailed insight. We will be happy to answer your questions in the chat or in the comments, And of course, our sales team is also available for you at any time. You can find the right contact and dealer or partner in your area on our website. We are looking forward to your feedback in the comments and also in the chat. And thank you for your interest, and see you soon at one of our other training courses here in Austria or online. Thanks and goodbye.